All right, well, here we go for week 37. Now, if you're somebody that likes that feeling of accomplishment, I think you're going to enjoy these next couple weeks as we work through the minor prophets, because we're not in, the book of Ezekiel or Jeremiah that takes a long time to get through. So the amount of reading's the same, but we are going through the books. And so we're going to finish this week Joel, and then Amos, then Obadiah. And so again, you'll kind of have this sense of accomplishment if that fits your personality. Now, let me touch a little bit of kind of give an overview of these books and then highlight some of the themes that you can apply to your life. Because sometimes we can read these books, it seems so foreign, kind of odd at times, but if we dig a little bit, we can see that it still applies to us today. Now, Hosea, we touched on that last week, so I'm not going to do that for this video. I'm going to begin with the book of Joel. Now, when did Joel prophesy? We're not exactly sure. We're not sure who, exact time frame. His message is a little more general, and this is probably deliberate. And the reason I say it's deliberate is because it's to apply to all generations. Because some of the themes that we see easily apply to us today. One of the things that he mentions is that the Lord disciplines those he loves, and this applies to our own Christian walk. You may be kind of struggling through some things, maybe your family life, things at work. And this isn't always the case, but it could be that the Lord is disciplining you. Now, we need to distinguish that he is not punishing you, but there's a discipline. Just like a father or a mother would discipline their child to bring them back. He may be doing this to you at different points of your life to bring you back to him. So it could be that maybe you're prideful or kind of self-sufficient. And so things don't go right. And he's kind of saying, hey, you need to wake up and come back to me. And so this is a theme that we see in the book of Joel. Now, when we move to the book of Amos, he was this shepherd and farmer. He's a guy that I would like to meet in heaven because he seems pretty intense. And I want to see if he's kind of really like that or just the message that he was given. So he's a shepherd, he's this farmer in the southern nation of Judah. But he is sent up to this northern nation of Israel before they are destroyed by the Assyrians. And so he prophesies against them. He speaks about the nations. And one of the major themes that he brings up is really loving God, but also loving others. And so we see this in the New Testament. And again, this is a good reminder for us. If we say we love God, but we have no love for others, we really need to kind of question where we're at in our relationship with the Lord. So we're constantly frustrated, not wanting to help people. Amos is saying, hey, you need to pay attention to that because your relationship with God may not be right if your relationships with other humans is not correct. And so again, we need to kind of wrestle through that. That's a very big and important theme in the book of Amos. And then we move to the book of Obadiah. Now, Obadiah is kind of this one-hit wonder. One chapter, shortest book, I think maybe in the whole Bible, at least in the Old Testament. Jude might be a little bit shorter, but just one chapter. What's interesting about this book is that it's not written to Israel or to Judah, okay? It's written to the Edomites. Now you say, okay, what's an Edomite? Well, remember back to Genesis, okay? So Isaac has Jacob and Esau. They're twins. So Jacob, his descendants is this nation of Israel. Remember the 12 sons he had become the 12 tribes. So that's Israel. Then we have Esau. And so these Edomites are descendants from Esau. So in many ways, they were the brothers of Israel, and Judah. And so the reason that Obadiah prophesies to them is because they did not support the nation of Judah. What had taken place, and we've touched on this throughout the videos the last few weeks, is that the Babylonians come, and in 586 BC, they destroy the nation of Judah. They take people into captivity. And the Edomites, instead of helping them and kind of loving on them, if you will, they were hostile to them. They were taking advantage of the situation. And the Lord is saying, I see that, and then the Edomites are going to be punished. And one of the big themes in this book is that of pride. The Edomites took a lot of pride in where they lived. They thought they were protected. They thought no harm could come to them. But what we find is that their pride is going to be brought down as the Lord really judges them for not caring for and loving the people of Israel. Now, I'll end with this. As you look through the different prophets, the different minor prophets, one of the big themes that we see over and over is what is called the day of the Lord. So we see this with Joel and Amos, for example. So what does that mean? Well, first of all, it's not talking about like a 24-hour day. It's more of what the Jews would call the day of Yahweh, or the day of visitation. Now, they look to this kind of in a positive term, that the Lord was going to come and visit them. But what we see in these minor prophets is that the Lord is going to visit them, but it's going to be to judge them, okay? And this, again, is a reminder and really pointing to that future day of the Lord, where we have to decide, okay, are we going to follow the Lord or not? And so for those of us that are believers, this is positive, that when Jesus comes back, this day of the Lord, it's positive because we'll be with him forever. But just like it was judgment for the people of Israel and Judah, for the Edomites, if we have not put our faith, our trust in Jesus Christ, this will not be a positive day. It will be negative, because what that will lead to is separation from God who loves us so deeply, who keeps calling us to come back to him. But when we keep rejecting him and not following him, that day of the Lord will be this visitation that will be negative and cause a separation from him for all eternity. So very, very somber thought. And so what is taking place in this minor prophets, as we've touched on before, is kind of this near fulfillment and then this future fulfillment. And this is made clear with this day of the Lord, that we need to remember that we will give account of our words, of our actions, how we loved God, how we loved others. And the question that we have to ask ourselves, that we have to have a concern with our family and friends, is, do they know the Lord? Do we know the Lord? So that that day of the Lord is not one of fear and dread, but one of anticipation that we are looking forward to.